How many times have you thought about giving up, believing that all is lost? Today I want you to hear something very special. God is offering you a new chance, and it's the most precious gift you've ever received. As you listen to this message, something supernatural begins to move. The Archangel Michael, in the name of the Lord, is coming to your aid, giving you the strength to get up and start over. Declare in the comments, "I accept the second chance God is giving me." There are times when life seems to crush us and the bottom becomes the only visible place. At such times, the heart asks itself, is there hope for me? The answer is simple: yes. The bottom is not your final destination. It's the place where God meets you to begin a powerful transformation. Imagine the Archangel Michael descending with his sword of light, sweeping away all the darkness around you. He says, "Fear not, God is here." He will lift you up with his strong hand and place you in a place of honor. These words echo God's promise that he will never abandon his children, especially in the most difficult times. As we look at the scriptures, we see examples of men and women who hit rock bottom and yet were rescued by God's mighty hand. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and thrown into a cistern. That seemed like the end, but it was only the beginning of a grand plan that would make him a ruler. David faced giants, persecution, and his own mistakes, but he was called a man after God's own heart. Like him, you are called to begin anew. The pain you feel now is not permanent. God can use every tear to water the seeds of a future full of grace. You may be thinking, but how do I get out of this place of despair? The answer is faith. It's not easy, I know, but when you put your trust in God, he makes the impossible possible. Archangel Michael proclaims over your life, "Get ready, for what seemed to be your downfall will actually be the springboard to your victory." God is moving heaven and earth to lift you up. No matter how deep you've fallen, the power of the Lord is enough to restore you. Now it's time to act in faith. Declare in the comments, "I believe God is raising me up for a new beginning." When you write this declaration, something in the spirit world is activated. It's as if you're signing a contract with the heavens, affirming your trust in divine power. Whatever your bottom line is, financial, health, or emotional problems, remember that it's not the end. It is the beginning of something extraordinary. Believe it. Rebuilding your life begins now. Starting over is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it is a demonstration of courage and faith. When you choose to surrender your fears and failures to God, he turns what seemed like an end into a glorious new chapter. Archangel Michael reminds you, it doesn't matter what has been, it matters what will be. God is writing a new page in your story. This new beginning is not just a chance to start over, but to experience something far greater than you ever imagined. You may feel tired and think you've tried everything. But remember, God is not limited by our attempts. He works at the impossible. When you surrender your life to him, doors that were closed begin to open. The process of starting over can be painful, but it is necessary. Think of a tree that loses all its leaves in the fall. To the human eye, it appears to be dying. But in reality, it is preparing to be reborn in the spring. So is your life. God is removing what no longer serves to make room for what is new. Archangel Michael is at your side in this process, protecting you from spiritual and emotional attacks. He says, trust, for God is working behind the scenes. Even if you can't see it, the heavens are moving because of you. If you accept this new beginning, explain in the comments, "I accept the new thing God is doing in my life." These words are not just an act of faith, but a step toward the victory that awaits you. Have you ever felt like you are going around in circles, unable to move forward? This can be frustrating, but know that God has already placed the key to your deliverance in your hands. The question is, are you ready to use it? The Archangel Michael, sent by God, is whispering into your heart. The key to your blessing lies in your faith and your commitment to seek God above all else. There is something extraordinary about putting God first. When you choose to trust him wholeheartedly, the blockages begin to disappear. It's as if a spiritual portal opens, allowing blessings to flow freely to you. The key is prayer, gratitude, and trust in God's perfect timing. But beware. Archangel Michael has a warning. He says many give up halfway through because they don't understand that the greatest battles come before the greatest victories. You may be about to receive something great, but discouragement is trying to make you give up. Resist. You may ask yourself, how can I strengthen my faith in this process? This is where God provides you with divine resources. He not only sustains you spiritually, but also guides you in practical ways. One of these resources is the ebook, Achieving a Prosperous Life Through Spiritual Strengthening. This material is designed to help you understand the spiritual principles that unlock prosperity in all areas of your life. Inside this ebook, you'll find transformational teachings and audios at 741 Hz, a frequency that promotes healing and spiritual clarity. By accessing it, you'll take an important step toward aligning your life with God's purposes and attracting the blessings He has for you. Click on the link in the comments and find out how this resource could be the tool you need to change your story. Remember, Archangel Michael is at your side to ensure that no weapon forged against you will succeed. He says, "The key is already in your hands. Just trust and take the next step." Declare now, "I unlock God's blessings in my life by faith." Your financial, emotional, and spiritual prosperity is not far away. God has already determined that this is the time for your breakthrough. Use the key of faith, trust in God's purpose, and see your life supernaturally transformed. Have you ever thought that God is never late? Although it often seems that the answers to our prayers are delayed, know that God's timing is perfect and purposeful. Archangel Michael teaches us that every second of waiting is part of a greater divine plan. When you cry out to God, your words are not lost in the void. On the contrary, they reach the heavenly throne like a gentle perfume. But before the blessing is released, God works in your life, preparing the ground so that you are ready to receive it. Waiting is not a punishment but a process of improvement. Archangel Michael points out that we are often tempted to give up just when we are on the verge of victory. He says, don't give up your prayers. Don't give up at the last minute. God moves heaven and earth on your behalf. Think of a farmer who sows. He doesn't reap the same day he sows. It takes patience to wait for the right time to reap. In the same way, God is watering your seed of faith and growing something great. Every tear shed, every heartfelt prayer is part of this process. If you feel like you're in the middle of a long wait, remember this: the greatest miracles happen at the right time. God may be delaying some blessings to protect you or prepare you for something even greater. He sees what you don't. Archangel Michael also reminds us that while we wait, we must act. Wait for God, but wait with purpose, he says. This means that while the blessing isn't coming, you can strengthen yourself spiritually, learn new skills, and prepare for what is to come. One practical way to make the most of this waiting time is to deepen your connection with God and understand the spiritual principles that unlock miracles. That's why the ebook Achieving a Prosperous Life Through Spiritual Empowerment is so important. It provides clear guidance on how to align your life with God's purposes as you wait for God's timing. Click on the link in the comments to access it now and start turning your waiting into a time of learning and growth. Declare in the comments, "I trust God's perfect timing and wait with faith and courage." When you trust in God's timing, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel peace even before victory comes. This peace is a sign that God is in control and that nothing can stop His promises from being fulfilled. Remember, Archangel Michael is fighting by your side, warding off any spiritual interference that tries to block your blessings. He is whispering to your heart, "Don't give up. The answer is on its way. Your miracle has already been released." While you wait, celebrate in advance. Thank God for the blessings yet to come. This act of faith moves the heavens. God is calling you today to trust and rest in His perfect timing, for He knows exactly what you need and when you should receive it. Have you ever wondered why sometimes difficulties seem to multiply just as we are about to receive a blessing? Archangel Michael reveals to us that before great victories, there is a spiritual war being waged in the unseen. Heaven is moving to ensure that God's promises are fulfilled, but the enemy is trying to hinder your faith and perseverance. Michael, as commander of the heavenly armies, is at the forefront of this battle for you. He declares, "Do not be afraid. Even if you can't see it, the divine forces are working tirelessly to remove the obstacles from your path." It is important to remember that these battles are not meant to destroy you, but to strengthen your faith and test your character. When you persevere, even in the face of adversity, something powerful happens. Your spirit grows, your faith matures, and God prepares you to receive what is already in store for you. Every struggle is an opportunity to align yourself more deeply with divine plans and to develop an inner strength that will be your greatest weapon for future conquests. This is why Archangel Michael emphasizes the importance of not giving up. He whispers to your heart, "Resist discouragement. God has already written your victory. Your only task is to stand firm, trusting in His power." When you face challenges, remember that opposition is often a sign that your blessing is near. The greater the challenge, the greater the testimony of God's glory in your life. Battles come to those who have great goals. Michael reminds us that prayer is one of the most powerful weapons we have. When you bend your knees and cry out in faith, your words reach the throne of heaven as an irresistible cry. God hears every prayer and sends angels to fight on your behalf. Don't underestimate the power of persistent prayer, even in the most difficult times. Declare in the comments, "I trust in divine victory and stand firm on God's promises." As you struggle, remember that you are not alone. God Himself is with you, guiding your steps and strengthening your faith. He whispers to your spirit, "I am your refuge and your fortress, your help in times of trouble. Trust in me, for the battle is not yours but mine." Don't let the voices of discouragement or doubt take up space in your mind. They are strategies of the enemy to cause you to fall back. Build your faith with God's promises. Read the Word, declare the Scriptures, and align your thoughts with God's purpose. Remember that the Archangel Michael is at your side, breaking down barriers and driving away any negative influence that tries to stop you. He is the sign that God never forsakes you and fights for you with unparalleled love and power. The battles may seem intense now, but they have a greater purpose. They are shaping you to be a stronger, wiser, and more connected person to God. When victory comes, you will be a living testimony that God's power is invincible and His faithfulness is eternal. When God chooses to act in your life, no force can stop His hands. Archangel Michael affirms that the doors God opens are those that no one can close, and the paths He traces lead directly to the divine purpose He has in store for you. Recognizing these opportunities, however, requires discernment, courage, and faith. Blessings often begin as something small, almost imperceptible. God may plant an idea, open a connection, or offer a simple opportunity that doesn't seem big at first glance. It takes an attentive heart and an open mind to see that these are divine seeds. Miguel advises, trust God's time and way. He works in ways that may seem mysterious at first but always turn out to be perfect. A door opened by God is not only a gift but also a call to action. It takes courage to walk through that door even when the path seems uncertain. Many people ask themselves, am I ready? Do I deserve this? Michael reminds us that God doesn't choose the qualified. He empowers the chosen. When you choose to act in faith even without seeing the whole picture, something extraordinary happens. The heavens begin to move the pieces synchronously, and the obstacles that seemed insurmountable begin to disappear. That's when you realize that what seemed difficult was actually a preparation for something greater. Michael, as the guardian of divine blessings, emphasizes that sometimes doors open in the midst of difficult circumstances. It may seem like everything is going wrong, but in reality it's God closing off the paths that were not meant for you and directing your focus to the right place. He will never put you in a situation where you don't have the support to win. Explain in the comments, I will recognize and walk through the doors God opens in my life with faith and courage. Another important point is gratitude. When you give thanks for every step, no matter how small it may seem, you show that you trust God and His plans. Miguel says, gratitude is the key that multiplies blessings. By recognizing what you have already been given, you make room to receive more. The doors God opens also have the power to transform your financial reality. God is an abundant provider and He cares for all areas of your life, including your material prosperity. Don't be afraid to pray for wisdom to manage your finances and multiply your resources. He wants you to prosper so that you can be a blessing in the lives of others. Michael's presence on your journey is a constant reminder that you are protected and guided. He is ahead of you, clearing the path, removing the pitfalls, and giving you the courage to move forward. Every step you take toward your divine purpose is accompanied by the support of heaven. When you are faced with an opportunity and you feel doubtful, give your decision to God. Trust that He will give you the clarity you need to choose wisely. And remember, what comes from God brings peace, not confusion. Don't give up if you haven't seen the doors open yet. Continue in prayer, obedience, and trust. God is working behind the scenes, and when the time is right, the perfect opportunity will present itself. In the meantime, keep your faith and know that Archangel Michael is at your side to ensure that nothing and no one will stand in the way of God's plans for you. Patience is an essential virtue when it comes to waiting for God's plans. Archangel Michael, as a divine messenger, reminds us that God's timing is not only perfect, it is a time of learning and preparation. While waiting, many lessons are taught and character is formed to bear the weight of the blessings to come. Often the waiting seems endless. The heart grows weary and the mind begins to wonder, has God really heard my prayer? Michael brings the clear answer. Every prayer is heard. Every tear is collected. Nothing you give to God goes unnoticed. He is always at work even if you don't see it. Patience requires trust. It is proof that you believe in God's goodness and sovereignty. During this time, heaven aligns people, situations, and resources so that the answer is much greater than what you asked for. Waiting is not punishment. It is preparation for the extraordinary. Michael warns us that impatience often leads us down the wrong path. Hasty decisions can distance us from God's purpose and lead us into traps. Wait on the Lord, for He always provides the best at the right time. Don't rely on your own strength alone, but on the strength of the Most High who never fails. Tell us in the comments, I am trusting God's timing and waiting in faith for God's promises. As you wait, it's important not to lose focus. Prayer is your greatest weapon and also your greatest comfort. Michael encourages us to turn waiting into a time of deeper communion with God. He says, the more you seek God, the more prepared you will be for what is to come. Waiting is also a time of strengthening. God not only answers your prayers, but also equips you to live out the answers. You may find that you become more resilient, wiser, and more confident in God's love throughout the process. It's all part of the greater plan. Another important point is to maintain gratitude while you wait. Michael teaches that a grateful heart opens the door to more blessings. Gratitude is not only for what you have received, but also for what is yet to come. Giving thanks in advance is an act of faith that touches God's heart. And what about financial prosperity while you wait? God does not ignore your material needs. Michael explains that even in times of apparent scarcity, God is faithful to provide. He uses waiting to teach us to be wise stewards of our resources, trusting fully in Him as their inexhaustible source. Archangel Michael reminds us that perseverance is not passive. It is an active state of faith and obedience. As you wait, continue to plant good seeds. God is watching every act of kindness, every gesture of generosity, and every moment when you choose to trust Him instead of giving in to despair. Finally, remember that patience is not only about enduring the waiting, but also about growing during the waiting. What God is building in your life is solid, lasting, and purposeful. Michael encourages you, don't give up now. You are closer than you think to seeing the promise fulfilled. As you go through this time of waiting, know that Archangel Michael is always at your side, strengthening you and protecting you from all doubt and discouragement. Believe me, God is never late. He is preparing something greater than you can imagine. When you feel that life is full of challenges and obstacles, it's important to understand that much of what we face happens first in the spiritual realm. Archangel Michael, the great leader of the heavenly hosts, is constantly fighting for you, repelling dark forces and opening pathways for God's blessings to flow freely into your lives. He reminds us that spiritual warfare is not something to be feared, but to be faced with courage and faith. Strengthen yourselves in the Lord and in the power of His name, says Michael. Every prayer you pray is like an arrow that pierces the walls the enemy has built. God equips you with powerful tools: the Word, faith, and fervent prayer. Often, difficulties on earth reflect an unseen confrontation in heaven. Michael reveals that every battle is an opportunity for growth. When we face challenges with trust in God, we become spiritually stronger and more aware of the divine power at work on our behalf. Nothing goes unnoticed. Every battle won strengthens our connection to God's eternal purpose. Whatever your struggle, health, relationships, finances, or fears, Michael assures us that God is sending help in every possible way. He asks you to focus not on the size of the problem but on the greatness of God. Look up, because that's where your help comes from, he says. The angels are all around you, preparing the ground for your victory. Declare in the comments, "In the name of God, I declare victory over all the challenges in my life." One of the greatest misconceptions in spiritual warfare is the belief that we are alone. Michael stresses that God will never leave you helpless. When you pray, the heavens move. Nothing stands still and nothing is impossible to God. The angels are at work, following the commands of the Most High. The battles you face may seem overwhelming, but Michael assures you that God has already ordained your victory. He reminds you to put on the whole armor of God as described in Ephesians 6. The breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation, the shield of faith, and the sword of the Spirit. These are your weapons, and with them you are invincible. Michael also talks about the importance of protecting your mind in times of spiritual conflict. The enemy often tries to create doubt, fear, and discouragement. Keep your thoughts focused on God's promise, he advises. Read the Word daily and declare biblical truths out loud. Not only will this strengthen your faith, but it will also silence the lies of the enemy. In financial struggles, Miguel emphasizes that God is the ultimate provider. He understands the worries that come with paying bills and paying off debts, but he assures us, God will not let you lack. He will provide for every need and open the windows of heaven to pour out blessings beyond measure. The key is to have complete trust in God's plan, even when circumstances seem bleak. Michael asks you to persevere even when everything inside you wants to give up. He is at your side, breathing courage and energy into you to keep you going. Finally, Michael reminds us that there is a great reward after every battle. God honors those who remain faithful and persevere. He transforms ashes into beauty, suffering into rejoicing, and seeming defeats into testimonies of victory. As you continue on your spiritual journey, know that each battle is another step toward the fulfillment of God's promises. Michael and his heavenly legions continue to fight for you, ensuring that your life will be a reflection of God's glory and faithfulness. As we close this message, I want you to remember something very important. Nothing happens in your life without God's care and attention. Every word you have heard today has been carefully prepared to strengthen your faith, renew your hopes, and lead you to the fulfillment of God's promises. Archangel Michael is at your side, fighting the unseen battles and whispering to your heart, you are never alone. He carries the divine mandate to ensure that you stand firm, even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. There is no darkness that can resist the light that God has lit in your life. The Lord doesn't just promise to transform your life, He has already begun the process. The battles you have faced are shaping a powerful testimony that will be shared to inspire and encourage others. From this moment on, you are entering a time of harvest where the fruits of your efforts and faith will be abundantly manifested. Before I finish, I want you to keep this promise in your heart. God is faithful. Even when the winds blow hard, He holds your hand. Even when you feel lost, He is charting a path of victory and abundance. Declare in the comments, I believe in God's promises and receive His blessings in my life. Now take a deep breath. Allow God's peace to flood your mind and renew your strength. When you leave here, take with you this certainty. The heavens have moved in your favor. What seemed far away is closer than ever. The promised blessings are being released, and the next step depends on your faith and action. May the Lord cover you with protection, wisdom, and infinite grace. May God's angels camp around you and lead you to a life of miracles, peace, and prosperity. Come back whenever you need comfort, guidance, or renewal. This message is for you. Receive it with faith, live it with courage, and share it with love. Beloved, the best is yet to come. God bless you abundantly.